Welcome to Talking Live. I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig, and I am so excited to have the iconic Candace Bushnell. Of course, you all know her from Sex in the City, and now she has come out with a new book called Is There Still Sex in the City? And it's all about women in midlife. Candace, thank you so much for joining me.
I'm so excited to be here and see you.
The last time we were together, you were doing a serious radio show, which I loved, and I don't even know why you had me on. Was it to talk about marital homicide? I don't know.
Well, it could have been.
I don't know.
But it was just also interesting.
It was
I
so
love
great.
the psychological aspect of relationships and all of that. So we had a great time. In fact, if I had a guest, if you were the guest every time, it would have been fantastic. But I personally hated doing that radio show.
Really? What did you hate about it?
You know, it felt like there was so much pressure to be entertaining and like off the cuff. And, you know, if you're a writer, in a way, you're not really that off the cuff.
Yeah,
you know,
interesting.
as a, it's like a lot, you're like, I'm going to do it. It's going to be crap. And I'm going to do it again and again and again and again. And then on a, radio show, it's live. It's like, you just have to keep talking and dead space.
We had a good time. You had a box of wine.
Yes.
We were drinking, and I don't know, you know how some moments are really vivid in your mind? That interview was very vivid in my mind. You're like, Robi, when you first moved to the city and you're dating those billionaires and they're so controlling, and I was thinking, I was lucky to date someone who had a job. I think I was lucky to get a date at all. So I'll never forget that. That was very funny.
Yes.
Yes, I never had that experience.
I actually haven't either, but I know a lot of women who have, and, it's like I knew, a lot of different kinds of women, and I knew a lot of women who, they really were looking for that rich guy. Yeah. And I always found that kind of fascinating. I mean, now, of course, it's so passé, and like women,
really?
Amongst young women who I meet so many young women, and they're really like, ugh, that just seems like a not sort of cool thing to do. It's like they would much rather make the money themselves.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think about the young women that I work with. I see a lot of men that are interested in being taken care of. So it's really switched. Like men wanting to make sure they marry a wealthy girl. Because they want it easy.
Or somebody who is working hard and bringing home the bacon.
That's right.
But you know what? That doesn't bother me so much. I mean, marriage is about, it's really about like that partnership, and let's work together, and let's maybe each have tasks or things that we do so we not everybody's doing the same thing all at the same time. And I'm all for guys staying home and, doing a lot of the childcare. And I see tons of it in New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, I see so many guys because I walk my dogs in the park, like midday. Yeah. They are definitely the stay-at-home dads.
Right. And sometimes it works. For some women, it works. I don't know if it would work for me, but I think people, when they think about partnerships, at least the younger generation, see it more as egalitarian, that they're going to work and their partner will work, and both, people will work and contribute together. But there's still the other. I mean, I think what's so interesting is I live in New York City. It's a bubble within a bubble. And you write about women in New York City.
Most of them are in the bubble in the bubble.
The bubble in the bubble.
Yes.
It's like you think you're out of a bubble, but you're not. You're just in a bubble within a bubble.
Yes. And there's still an even more exclusive bubble, in the middle. And Anna Wintour's there.
Okay.
And you're not.
Yes, I'm definitely not there.
I mean, not you. I meant one in general.
Oh, listen. Do you remember Elsa Clench? a long time ago, she saw me on the street. I swear to God, I was wearing sweats. They were bad sweats. And she looked at me like this. She was horrified. So I can't imagine what Anna Wintour would think of me. Talking about this bubble and women and Sex in the City, and we'll get to, is there still sex in the city? Because I want to get into the midlife ladies. Everyone seemed to relate to the characters, even though it represented this unique grouping. What do you think it is about your character development that gets so many people to relate?
Well, I mean, the reality is, on a TV show, part of that relatability is, it's the actors. And there is a little bit of a magic thing there that's there, part of that is there's like a chemistry there that one can't control. But I think, bigger than that is the fact that people, women saw themselves in, one of the characters.
Or many of them.
Many of the characters. And they were really about, the characters represented like different approaches to life and different belief systems. And everybody has a belief system. You believe in romance. You think, the man should take care of everything. You don't want to be vulnerable. You don't ever want to be taken care of. These are all approaches that we have. And so they represented like 4 different approaches. And I think and that's one of the things that's interesting is, there's still, the show is still huge.
Huge.
It's like more and more people watch it around the world. It seems crazy. But I think it's really because what they face is universal. It's like people are people.
It's universal, but it's also aspirational for female friendships.
Yes.
Because right now we have The Housewives, which I'm guilty of watching. Judgment TV, seeing women kind of being tough or horrible to one another.
I wish I could be on one of the Housewives, but I couldn't. I'm too much of a mouse. No, I went to a couple of the events and then it looked like Dorinda yelled at me, but she actually didn't. She was yelling, I don't know, about something else. And I was like, how are you doing after, seeing whatever, who she was having a fight with? And she was like, not well, bitch. Something. And I was like,
nice to see you too.
That's, or she said something like, and I said to her, I'm not doing well, bitch, or something. So but I was like, they're too tough for me.
Yeah.
Like, I would be scared.
I couldn't handle it.
I'm already scared, I'm friends with Luann. I love Luann.
She's a nice woman.
But,
what she tolerates is impressive.
If Luann, yelled at me, I'd be scared. So,
okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm like a scared kind of person.
So when you look at the Sex in the City, what was so nice, and I think why it also resonates, is I want to be the way they are to each other in terms of their friendships. And the reality is sometimes friends, and we can get into, is there still sex in the city? Sometimes friends don't show up the way we want them to.
Well, I think one of the things that's interesting to me is, when I was writing Sex in the City and I don't know if it has to do with age, but when I was in my 20s and 30s and I was single and childless and friends really did show up for each other. But, the reality is once you start, you get married, you have children, or you start the reproductive life cycle, that's a completely that's a completely different lifestyle.
And the movement is different.
The movement is different. You know, you must take your kids to school.
Right.
You know, they must go to the doctor. They must have shots. So your life becomes constructed around, you know, the realities of taking care of a child.
Yes.
And all of your friends become about that. And your family and your children, you know, rightly so, become the priority.
Yeah.
Not your friends. Or, I mean, it's just, it kind of has to.
It happens.
You know, I mean, it's like, it happens.
And then you have other mommy friends who understand.
Yes.
So if you reach out to them once every 3 months, you're a great friend. Whereas if you have single friends, they're like, where'd you go?
Yes. So I think what happens is those Sex and the City friendships, you know, it's just harder and harder to get together, and people's lives do go in separate directions often. I mean, look, a lot of people, when they have kids, move out of the city.
Right.
And move to the suburbs. So, you know, people are, you know, your friends are physically
farther away.
And I think that's, you know, and then after that period, when one comes around again, and if you find yourself single again, that's again another time when you really need your girlfriends. And it's kind of about relearning those friendships.
Yeah. Let's talk about, is there still Sex in the City? And it was based on your life. And the 50s were a tough period for you.
They were.
Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting because I think what happened to me just happens to everybody emotionally and psychologically. I don't know why it is, but you know, through my 40s, I found myself feeling kind of less and less interested in going out. And I don't know if it was because I'd gone out so much.
You burn out.
I mean, every single day. But I've heard this from other people. You know, people their priorities start somehow changing in their heads, and they don't feel time like they have time for everybody. And then I ended up getting divorced.
I was sad when that happened. Is it possible I was sadder than you? It might have been. It might have been. I'm not sad anymore, but you know,
it was sad. It was sad. It wasn't heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's good. Why was it not heartbreaking?
I didn't really take it personally.
How did you
that's fabulous. Strange, but I didn't take it personally. I really felt like, and this is just the reality of like marriages and coupling. I felt like he was on a certain emotional path and I was on a certain path, and he was 10 years younger. And I was wanting to kind of change and deepen things, and he was having to, you know, give up his career as a dancer because he was 42.
Right.
So
he's an athlete.
He's an athlete at a certain point. Can't do that for a long time. You know, and they all have to retire at like 42, 43. So he was having to retire, which was like freaky. And, you know, there were all these young dancers there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just like the sound of music. There was a young woman. He's feeling insecure. I was working all the time. So I was really busy. Like, I was working so hard to, like, let's have a really nice apartment, and let's have a really nice life, and let's do this, and let's do that. And I think he was feeling really insecure, and we didn't know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then here's somebody who's young. He's known her since she was 18, and now she's 23. And you know, and they're dancing together, and he's a principal dancer, so she looks up to him like, you know, he's a genius.
Yeah.
You know what, Robbie? You cannot fight against that.
No, you can't.
I mean, you cannot.
No.
Especially if you're 10 years older. It's like I'm
not
50,
a genius.
She's 23.
Right.
It's like, this, unfortunately, is kind of like Mother Nature, and I can't do anything.
Do you still talk to him? Do you have a friendship?
No, I mean, I would have, but he seemed to be very uncomfortable. I mean, I think because he probably felt like, hey,
Yeah.
But I did run into him on the street. And he looked great, and we immediately started like laughing about, some old joke or something. So, and
must
then
have been a nice moment.
It was a nice moment. It was.
It's like a relief when you can just not have that ego be involved in your relationships and just say, I see you, it's okay.
Yes.
And I'm okay.
I know. I mean, the thing that's so tricky about relationships is that, people have so much ego involved, and it's
just fantasy.
Yes, the fantasy of what it's supposed to be.
What it's supposed to be, and you can tell me your thoughts, but certainly when you're younger, looking for a relationship is all about the fantasy.
I mean, marriage is a lot about scheduling and routine, and I think that's something that people don't understand.
It's a skill.
Marriage is about two people occupying the same space in the same time.
Yes.
It's about two objects in space that must get around each other and interact.
No, who would want to get married if it was described that way? It's much better. You're walking into the sunset with your Prince Charming. Because if it was described as two bodies in space trying to exist, it sounds like no exit.
Exactly.
A little bit like,
I did read something, and this made sense to me. I read something recently that said the people who have the best relationships are gay or, same-sex relationships. Okay. And the people who have the worst relationships are heterosexuals. I'm like, no kidding. Okay, I could have told you that.
But you're in a good relationship now.
No, I'm not in a relationship.
Oh.
No, I was for a couple of years, but it just kind of faded away.
I feel like I'm the last to know.
Nobody knows. It's not like I wasn't really talking about it. But yes, I had a wonderful boyfriend. Yeah. And then it just kind of faded away.
It just faded away.
And we're friends. We talk all the time.
Okay.
But we're friends with no benefits.
Are you interested in romance? I like to match people up.
Well, I was going to go on Raya, but I don't.
Oh, that's for
you have to know
celebrity.
People.
Well, you know people.
Right. I don't know if I can even get on it.
You can get
on it.
Plus,
they're the last thing they want. This is the last thing Raya wants. This new crop of 50 and 60-something-year-old women who are looking for, guys. They're like, no. We don't want that.
I see, it's interesting. I was talking to a very successful executive who's single. He's been married several times. And I said, are you dating? What's going on? And he said, I'm in between jobs, so I don't feel comfortable dating and he'll get another job and a major job. And I said, well, what age range do you want? I like to know, because I like to match people up. And he's like, Robbie, for me, it's not about age. It's about chemistry and who I'm vibing with. So I just think that midlife is a whole other phenomenon that has been misbranded. I really do believe that.
Well, yes, but I think, one of the reasons for that is literally because of people's physical health. And, we got our teeth. We have, we have doctors. We've got skincare.
Yes.
We've eliminated, knock on wood, a lot of viruses that used to, wipe out a quarter of the population.
Yes.
200-300 years ago. And so, 50 years ago or even 30 years ago, somebody who was 50 looked like what we would think somebody who's 70 now.
Right.
And somebody who's 70 now, or somebody 70 back then looks like somebody who's 90 something. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, we would go and visit old age homes, and the people were so decrepit.
Yeah.
You know, and like, and it's like, well, how old are they? And they're like, 72. Yeah. Oh, that's so old.
Not anymore. And I just want to say that you are still in midlife, because when people leave midlife is when they feel old. So if we don't use this time, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. If we give ourselves this internalized expiration date, we really need to rebel against that, which is what I talk about in my book, Your Best Age Is Now. But look at J-Lo. That's 50. That's what the young generation is looking to as being 50.
And, you know, when J-Lo's 70,
she's going to be on that pole.
She may not even look that different.
She may not even need vaginal rejuvenation, which is something that comes up when you reach a certain age. All of a sudden, like, this comes up.
You know, I mean, it's like, I don't even know, like, what to say about, like, the vaginal rejuvenation thing. As somebody said to me, as one woman said, you know what? My vagina feels fine to me. You know?
Right.
It's not bothering me.
I never thought I'd have to look at my vagina to see how young it looked. You know what I mean? But there is this idealization of youth. And I
know. It's like, I don't look at them so it's like, I don't know. I say,
and I just want to say, just on a side note, fortunately, I have a mother who never felt like age made you worse. She's like, there are people that get more beautiful with age.
And that is true.
And that is really true. And I will look at old pictures, the old picture of, you look great. I look horrible in that picture. But I look at some pictures, I'm like, nah, I didn't have it going on that much back then.
You know what? This is the thing that nobody tells you is some people, they actually do get better looking. They get better. As they get older.
Yes, you
know, maybe it's a little bit of, you know, this or that or whatever. Or, you know what, there are a lot of people who, when they get to midlife, they decide, now is the time where I am going to, you know, get into shape. Yes. And I'm going to feel good in my body, and I'm going to cut down on that drinking. And people find, you know, when you start to exercise a little bit and eat better and all that, the reality is it works.
It works.
It's one of the few things that actually does work.
I agree with you. You refer in your book to the super middles. You're great at kind of creating these names that just resonate. Super middles. You originally wanted to call your book Middle Age Madness.
Yes, I did.
I'm sure that did not fly.
You know what? I honestly, like, I still don't understand why.
I'll tell you what I was told. Because I wanted to name my book.
Because I thought it was like it's all about hijinks and it's people going like crazy. Yeah. And, you know, but my idea of crazy, which is, you know.
I mean,
behaving in a
I wasn't told that, but so my book, Your Best Age Is Now, I wanted to call it Midlife Myths. And challenging those myths. And they said, Robbie, if you put midlife on the title, it's or like, it's like selling dirty diapers. No one is going to want to identify with it. No one's going to want to buy it. So, I mean, I think we both came up with better names, but it's interesting.
Yes. See, that I did not know, but you know what? It makes sense.
Yeah. Dirty diapers. That's what I was told.
No,
you'd have a better chance of selling a book that said dirty diapers.
Yes, because you know what? A lot of people don't, they don't want to, you know, they don't want to identify.
Right.
As that.
Right. And if you didn't know what age you are, what age would you feel like?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, whatever is younger than,
I was 27
61.
In my head for a long time. I think that's changed. Now I don't know what age I am. But for a long time, it was like kind of 20s. I think associated with a good and independent time in my life. And I think that's when people kind of get stuck on a number in their own head, what they feel like. I don't know what your experience is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Because the thing is, when I was younger, I was like much more unhealthy. So
you feel better.
I'm actually like, I feel better than I did when I was 25.
Some of the topics that you also mention in your book is this feeling of invisibility, and that you've had that experience, which I find hard to believe. I really do.
Well, if I'm just wearing my glasses and I don't have my hair and makeup done, today, a perfect example of this is I went into the bank because I needed a notary, and I was wearing my glasses and and I was like, oh, is there a notary here? And this one was like, I'm a notary. And I said, oh, and I need a witness. And she was like, well, you have to get your own witness. And I was like, oh, no. And she was actually really rude.
Yeah.
So then I happened to go out. I got changed, whatever, and fixed up a bit. And I went back in and I said, I need a notary. And there was like somebody else there, and they were like immediately, oh, let me help you. Let me do this. Let me do that. Are you sure? So it's like, I see it. I mean, if I am not dressed, I mean, I can see it in their eyes. Like, it's just another bland, middle age.
And you think it's age related?
It's about significance. It's like, is this person significant? No, their eyes just go right past you. And we really tend to do that with middle-aged and older people. Like, they're just not significant. They don't register on our radar. And I went to a pretty fancy party last night, and I was all dressed up. And, like, guys in their 30s who are maybe kind of, like, looking around, they will not look at you. They will not even meet your eye. I mean, I see it.
Would you be interested in a 30-year-old?
It's not even being interested. Not that. It's even about having a conversation. Okay? They are not interested in having a conversation, even that. It's like, if you are not, of sexual interest to them, it's like you don't exist.
Interesting.
So,
I guess it's highly variable. I just, in my own experience, I had some very pretty friends when I was younger. I still have pretty friends. But when we would go out, I would feel invisible. And it wasn't an age thing. It was, I guess, a beauty. It was a beauty thing.
Well, but, the beauty thing is always, we all have friends. Like, I have a friend who, if I go out with her, no guy will talk to me. They will all talk to her. And she expects them all to talk to her. And this, unfortunately, is something that you are born with. I mean, she's super sexy. She's available, which is the other part of the equation, is like, are you available in some way? And she gives off that vibe, whether she wants it or not, and she's doing it intentionally or not. But she gives that vibe off wherever she goes. And even if she looks like a mess, she still has, it's like men still see that and they jump to it. And that's like something that you're born with. It's like life is not fair, but
and that's the other thing.
Mating is not on an even playing level.
And that's one of the things I think we realize once we hit midlife is that, you've dealt with a lot of challenges and you realize life is not fair. You talk about, and then I'll get to my quick 5 because I know we're coming to a close. You've been so generous. That it's harder to bounce back. And yet you seem to do it. And I'm wondering what your secret is.
Well, I think because of what I do, I've had a lot of rejection. And when I was a kid, I rode horses and would get bucked off the horse. And I was always one of those people who, as my father would say, I just didn't quit. But believe me, there are so many times when I want to quit and I'm like, I'm done. I shouldn't do this. I'm like, I'm going to kill myself. Blah, 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 blah. And there also have been times when I've been like, clinically depressed too. So that's always hard.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I think I have that's kind of weird is like, even, if I'm by myself, it's like I probably will start writing something. Like just on my own, I probably will create something. And, and it's like, I mean,
that's life-giving. Don't you think it's life-giving when you're in sync with your passion and you can still do it?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really about, it's like I don't have kids, and I do feel like people need something.
But even when you have kids, if you're a good mother, they have their life.
Exactly.
And that needs to be respected too. You can't just rely on them or it'll create resentment.
Exactly.
So you always have to be living creatively. Those are my thoughts. We do something called the Quick 5.
Great.
And hopefully you'll play along. What reality TV show do you secretly enjoy?
The Curse of Oak Island.
I've never seen that.
Oh my God.
I'm missing out.
You're really not, unless you get obsessed with like the square structure and it's like, it's people on an island and they've been looking for this treasure for like 300 years. And, they'll find a nail and I can't go into it, but
well,
yes.
I'll check it out.
It's the Curse of Oak Island.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to go home after this and watch last night's show. I'm like, did they find anything?
Okay. I'm going to check it out. What makes you very nervous?
Driving in St. Bart's, like any curvy roads, like with no railings and
I have a fear of getting lost. That's what makes me nervous, which is such an odd thing in New York City. You're never getting lost. Anyway, enough about me. What was the best decision that you've ever made?
Gosh. I don't know. I mean, maybe, I don't know, because I don't know if I've ever made a good decision.
Oh, you've made many.
I think maybe the best decision was to follow my gut.
Yeah.
And to rely on oneself and your own take on things. I mean, I think that's really, it's about being independent of thought and, you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You don't have to listen to what everybody else says, and you don't have to listen to what society says.
Isn't that nice? Once you reach, I think midlife, you realize other people don't know better than you, and you don't have to live with shame or proving anything.
Exactly.
It's a glorious thing. I love it. Do you believe in destiny?
I would like to say yes. I mean, when I was younger, I really, really did believe in destiny. But now I feel like I believe a little bit more in, there are just like certain patterns to people's lives and You know, I think that some people are born with like a better working brain than others. And I think it's about making the most of the cards that you've been dealt. Now, on the other hand, and I hate to bring up this person, but I mean, I look at someone like Donald Trump and I think that he must have, you know, this idea that he has a destiny. You know, and that's like driven him. So I don't know that like the destiny is such a good thing. I don't know, but
I don't know if any of us know.
Yeah. You know, as a writer, it's something that it sort of gives you an automatic narrative, like this was the person's destiny.
Right.
But the reality is it's more just about like patterns and in a way people being in a rat maze and you can go in this door, you can go in that door. We don't really have that many choices. That's my belief.
Interesting. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope not in a hospital.
I hope we're having a drink somewhere fabulous. Do you still drink?
You know what? I don't drink that much.
Okay, I never drink that much, but
I used to drink a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be like, people would be like, how can you even drink that much? You're so small. It's like, it's in my genes. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's like, we can't make those predictions because, you know, this is an age where you could be dead or you could have, you know, a new career and be like a really hot thing with the Gen Zs, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, I'm sure it will be something exciting. I'm so excited to have you here and to reconnect, and I hope that we can do it again.
I'd love to.
Oh my God, so great. Thank you for joining Talking Live. We're going to have links. We're going to have everything up, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.